132-119 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. 4 straight win for the Clippers. A game-high 33 points from Kawhi Leonard. Ivica Zubac had 28 points and 20 rebounds. The stat of the night comes from Clippers guard Bogdan Bogdanović. He was 8 for 8 from the floor, including 4 for 4 on three-pointers. He finished with 20 points and 7 assists off the bench. The Alabama State men's basketball team won an NCAA tournament game for the first time in school history. A last-second layup by Amar Knox lifted the HBCU school to a 70-68 win over St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Alabama State advances to play Auburn, the number 1 seed in the South Regional, on Friday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to announce that, like George and Weezy,
we're moving on now.
Earlier this year, we were named a semifinalist for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Wait for it. Wait for it.
You ready?
KBLA Talk 1580 was recently selected as one of 10 finalists being considered for this prestigious award. Hundreds of organizations, institutions, and even cities were nominated in the selection process. But KBLA Talk 1580 has made it to the finals. You're invited to watch live on Wednesday, April 16th. At 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, as Eco America announces the winner and the runner-up, awarding over $200,000 in prize money. To watch live, just go to ecoamerica.org to register and attend the online ceremony. That's ecoamerica.org. Don't miss the presentation of the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025, Wednesday, April 16th, and wish us luck. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
White diamonds, 2 a.m. she rollin'. She sick, got they stomach in her comics. What school you went to? Gardena, Compton, Westchester, King, Drew, did we function? Lil, but that dog gave me, that's on pup. All my kids, I sock you up. Have you ever took a fade and ran 3 more back to back? Oh, you haven't? Then shut the f up and keep it rap. I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA when you don't travel past the 10. Am I tripping? Yes, I am. Meditate over some money. I see Franklin, I find Van. I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA, but live in LA and pretend. My neck on Tarantino, Alejandro slightly. Just know you took the scenic route if you stand by me, stupid.
So fly in this 50 on me, don't die trying it. You know I'm bumper down when I slide in this. Beamers and the jets outside in this. West side, get the money, yeah, that's for sure. Streets don't love you, better respect the code.
KBLA Talk 1580. Oh my, I'm back. 800-920-1580. That's the number to call if you got something to say about a thing. I am very tempted to blame RFK, our Health and Human Services Director, for my food poisoning bout, even though that's probably not fair because he hasn't even been HHS secretary long enough for the unregulated food and the dismantling of the FDA to lead to my sickness, although you never know. But what I do think is that it's a bit of a stretch. I get that. But I do think it's a wake-up call as far as thinking about the conditions we're living in the United States right now, right? Which is that the things that we've taken for granted, which is having an agency kind of overseeing food safety, overseeing the environment, protecting workers. Of course, I'm referring to several different agencies. They are being dismantled. And although we were told that it was going to be impossible for Elon Musk and Donald Trump to dismantle the Department of Education. It's a whole bureaucratic machinery. It's going to take a long time. In fact, they're effectively doing it by simply defunding these agencies, even though they do not have the authority to do so, and then ignoring the courts. So I think that we are just going to have to we are going to have to be more careful about everything. And the things that we've taken for granted, we can't take them for granted anymore. Some things I don't know what you do about it. They're firing all these Park Service employees. There was an article in the LA Times today about how they're shutting down all these buildings. They're Doge is shutting down all these buildings that house things like park rangers and scientists who study the weather patterns and help us avoid calamities by guiding the public on upcoming disasters, and the scientists that help make sure that our fish can thrive and are not depleted so our food sources continue to be available to us and things like that. They're shutting them down. So what happens? I think of it like this. What would happen if you didn't mow your lawn for 4 years? Would be pretty jacked up. Now, that's assuming this man leaves after 4 years. I don't know. And then if you stop watering it, it's going to look pretty bad. You're not going to just be able to sprinkle a little water on it and mow it and it's back to normal. And that's what I'm thinking about the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Consumer Protection Agency, the doggone Weather Service, all of these scientists. Will they even stay in the U.S.? What is going to happen? That means that we are going to hopefully find ways to protect ourselves and our communities and alternatives to relying on what we have kind of taken for granted. We've had relatively safe food, safe water. We've had scientists continuing to work on ways to get rid of more pathogens, the toxins, and these listeria, E. coli outbreaks, and the diseases like the bird flu. Yesterday. I was like, I bet you I have the bird flu. No, I don't think I had the bird flu because I wouldn't be feeling so much better today. I believe it was food poisoning, and I'm pretty sure I know why. But it just started making me contemplate all of these safety systems, which although they're not perfect, I'm right there with the holistic folks complaining about the FDA overreaching on regulating vitamins and herbs, right? But at the same time, do you want stuff that's possibly polluted with toxic chemicals because no one's watching and no one cares? The complete deregulation, which is what Musk said out of his own mouth, is that the regulation should be the exception and not the rule. I don't know if you've been following the reports on the pesticides on pot, the cannabis chemicals. It's something I've been following because I find it really worrisome. They finally decriminalized this, legalized recreational weed in a lot of states, including the one I live in. And now we're hearing that it's pesticide laden. And I think about the body, the lungs, the other neurotoxic possibilities of these terrible chemicals that are now on the weed. And this is actually something, credit where credit is due, the LA Times has done a stellar job in tracking this. For me, it's a call to grow your own, but now you can't get seeds. So even though it's legal, you can't even grow your own. So this was already happening under the Democrats, right? Toxic pesticides. Who's really going around and inspecting cannabis fields to make sure that there's not things that will make you grow another head, in being sprayed on the weed that you're going to light up and suck into your lungs? Nobody. Well, now there's going to be really nobody, right? Artist Moore Jr. says, I have to stop smoking weed. Help me. Well, vitamin C is supposed to be good for that. You take a bunch of vitamin C and it's supposed to balance out and vitamin B, what was stripped from your body by the THC. So I just think we have to be cognizant of the fact that we're going into an era. It's very much like the medieval times. The scientists and the science are the enemy, and the profiteers are the heroes in the Musk and Trump playbook of 2024. Also, a friend of mine who I won't call out on this broadcast unless I check with her was pointing out that the cannabis is not good. It's bad for your reticular processing system if you smoke it, right? Which is the part at the base of the brain that does all kinds of things, including regulates your creativity. So, Jamie Kazee says there aren't any testing sites in the Los Angeles area. I believe that. So basically, it's legal, but you're taking your life into your own hands. Edibles might not harm your reticular processing system, but some people, and by some people, I mean me, don't like them because you don't know what the impact is going to be. It's not just me. I've seen plenty of memes on social media. You can be high for a week, or you can get so out of it that you feel like you can't come back. No, that's not for me. But it may be better for you because it doesn't impact your lungs. I do believe you would still be ingesting those pesticides, but you would not be inhaling them into your lungs. Okay, so I kind of digress, but this is something that I've been worrying about. And then when we think about the total deregulatory environment, it's worrisome for me, and it's a bit of a wake-up call. Let's go to Norma calling us from Garden Grove. Good morning, Norma.
Good morning.
What's on your mind?
I just found your radio station.
Yay! Welcome. Welcome to where real people hang out and have real conversations that aren't corporate.
I love it.
Tell a friend, okay? Because we're not funded by some corporate behemoth, so we rely on word of mouth and people like you telling their friends.
You got it. I have a comment about these Democrats that aren't doing anything.
Yes, ma'am.
The Schumer people. I think they're, like being paid by the same people. They're corporate people. So that's why they're not yelling.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I mean, there's something wrong here. Why are you not functioning as the opposition? Why are you not doing what's in the best interest of the people that elected you?
Yeah, because they're really wolves in sheep clothing. They act like they're for us, but they're really, working for the man who's paying them, and it's the same people.
So what's the solution to that? I mean, I think you can see this is why I keep saying that the Democratic Party needs to lean into the progressive wing of the party, those folks that are more for the people, that are more out on the front lines. But I think what you're saying, we're following the money here, is the reason why they don't. Why they're always shutting down the AOCs and the Ilhan Omars and the Rashida Tlaibs and the Ayanna Presleys and the Summer Lees, because it disrupts their corporate money flow.
Yeah, the donors, yeah. And then I heard it said that our only choice now is to do those big strikes of the 1920s. Shut down the ports, shut down, have the truckers.
General strikes. Down. Yeah. I can see that coming. Do you see that coming, Norma?
Yeah, and I see even us surrounding Washington, D.C. You think the Oath Keepers invaded Washington, D.C. Wait till America invades Washington, D.C.
Wow. Well, you know that we have an Oath Keeper running for governor in California. A so-called former Oath Keeper. I think that's like a former mobster.
Okay, I'm getting nervous, so I'm gonna get off the phone now.
All right, take a deep breath. Have a great day. Thanks for calling, Norma. Appreciate it. I love that more and more people are discovering KBLA every day and spreading the word. Norma called 800-920-1580. You can do the same. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And so many things. You can't blink. You can't stop for a second because everything is moving so fast right now. But I was happy to see that Judge Theodore Chuang of the U.S. District Court in Maryland said that what Elon Musk is doing with the dismantling of USAID is probably unconstitutional. He also did not buy the idea that Musk is not the leader of Doge. He said Musk's own braggadocious comments, braggadocious, I added that word, but that Musk's own comments on Twitter make it clear that he is, in fact, over Doge. What he did not do, though, is reinstate employees. He said that they need to stop defunding the agency, but what he did not do was reinstate employees. And whether to what degree the current Republican administration is going to pay attention to that, I do not know. We don't know. President Zelensky is supposed to be talking to Trump on the phone, and then today or tomorrow, after Trump had a long phone convo with Putin, and Putin rejected the ceasefire deal. Surprise, surprise, because we know who's the puppet and who's the puppet master in that relationship. Putin said he would stop bombing certain government buildings. What I'll give you a little lot of nothing. And so now Trump is going to talk to Zelensky. And I don't know. Last time I checked, it wasn't day one anymore, and that war is still raging on. A bunch more documents around this assassination of President John F. Kennedy were released by the Trump administration last night. It's thousands of pages, 63,400 pages to be exact. It's going to take a while for those to be sorted through. Apparently, historians are not expecting any big deal. Some of the papers are so tangential that they might not even be consequential. They're not really expecting any big revelations, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court is pushing back on Trump a little bit, saying that because Trump had posted that he wanted to impeach the judge who told him to stop flying alleged gang members out to El Salvador. And that's an order. He ignored the judge's order, saying it was issued after the flights left when that wasn't even true, and then called for the impeachment of the judge. And Chief Justice John Roberts said impeaching federal judges is not an appropriate response to disagreeing with their rulings. Now, you know it's bad when the extreme court has to try to reel you in a little bit. That is wild. We are just getting started. Let's go to Fred from L.A. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. Thanks for taking my call. I got 4 points on the budget. Number one, if you cut the military, cut it out, just park all the ships and all the troops home, you're still $1 trillion short on the budget. Number two, Democrats haven't shown a plan to where...
Okay, before you go to number two, $1 trillion short on the budget, what do you mean? You mean as far as the deficit?
Okay. Yes.
You're talking about the deficit. Right. Well, they obviously don't care about the deficit. I know your boy Trump obviously doesn't care about the deficit, or he would not be giving tax cuts to billionaires who don't need them.
Okay, well that's not for you to decide how much money they should have. That's terrible about things and people like that.
It is for me to decide. I'm a U.S. citizen and a voter.
Okay, but it's not for you to decide.
Oh, yes, it is. It's not their bank account. It's whether or not they're paying their fair share of the commons. If we could get the billionaires and almost trillionaires to pay what they paid under Clinton, we wouldn't have a deficit right now.
That's not true. Let's take all of their money. They say Elon Musk has $660 billion, and the rest of them, there may be 1,000 of them.
When was that figure? Because I'm wondering how his money's doing now that he's being boycotted worldwide for being a Nazi and Tesla's free falling. Anyway, okay, what was your second point?
Well, okay, if we took all the billionaires' money, it would total out about $2 trillion. That would cover the deficit for 1 year, and then the next year they're broke and sleeping on the street. So that's not the solution.
Well, it could be, but I don't follow your math. I don't agree with your math. But what was your third point?
Okay, Chuck.
Okay,
Schumer.
According to the latest, it's Forbes says he's worth $328 billion.
Well, he says he lost $100 billion last week.
Yeah, well, he should keep his mouth shut. That would help. Stop doing Nazi salutes, and you won't get divested by Sweden and a bunch of other countries.
Anyway, Schumer voted for the continuing CR. I think they call it HR 1998. I'm no fan of Chuck Schumer, but he did do the right thing. If there was no continuing resolution, that would give the executive branch power to control all the money and direct it anywhere.
They already are.
Yeah, but it would take the courts out of the equation.
They already are.
A lot of this stuff is going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. You know that.
And what is the Supreme Court going to do, Fred?
Well, they're going to uphold the Constitution like they always do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the last one, because I know you want to get rid
They're
of it.
going to uphold the Constitution or reform the Constitution, a la Citizens United, a la Roe v. Wade. you don't know what this court is going to do, and they seem to be the lackeys of our current president, so I wouldn't count on them upholding the Constitution, unless by upholding you mean rewriting.
Okay, anyway, last point. Medicaid, not Medicare, Medicaid. They keep saying it needs to be cut. I'm sure it does. The Democrats are against cutting it. They say 41% of the babies born in the nation are born on Medicaid, and in California they say it's 50%.
Fred,
go ahead.
Why do you want to cut Medicaid? Of all the things we can cut, our military budget is bloated and obese. Why do you want to cut health care for people who don't have any money, many of them children, people who are elders that are not yet old enough to be on Medicare, all these Medis. Why is that your priority? Denying people health care?
The Democrats seem to want to bring in at times 16,000 illegal people a day. They have children. They need medical services, but yet at the same time.
Oh Lord! So you're you're just gonna pivot to immigration and not answer my question.
What's the question again, please?
Why is your priority cutting medical care? We need universal health care. We need Medi-Cal for all, not going the opposite direction. Do you see that more American families are bankrupted by medical bills than any other single factor? Do you see that there are people on these streets that do not have medical care? Clearly they need mental health care. I see people, holding colostomy bags that are sitting on street corners. Why is that your priority?
Because you can't justify bringing in more people to put on Medicaid.
That's not what's happening, but even if it were, most of the people we're talking about right now who are getting their medical care cut because of this administration are U.S. citizens. So why is that your priority? Why is not giving medical care to your fellow citizens? Why is that something you're up here cheering for?
It's okay for citizens and people that are here legally, but those that are not, they should not.
But there is no stipulation in the cuts to Medicaid that it will only be cuts to undocumented persons. That is just a made-up talking point. I know you like to drink the Kool-Aid, Fred, but that is peak Kool-Aid right there, because that is not what is happening. They are talking about defunding children. They are talking about defunding low-income folks in this country, many of them in rural areas, which ends up defunding hospitals having to shut down in rural areas where there is no alternative for miles around. You're deluding yourself. I know you have a good heart, Fred, but you got to have to dig a little deeper. Time for news, traffic, and sports, and then we'll have more conversation on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Fredericksburg, Texas Fire and EMS is providing an update on the crabapple wildfire that's been affecting Black people in the community as well as other races. It's announced the fire is now about 90% contained. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, who is Black, says he's confident in Chuck Schumer despite the backlash over Schumer's support for a GOP spending bill. A Dominican Republic judge is ruling in favor of an American linked to the disappearance of a University of Pittsburgh student of color. Sudiska Kanaki has been missing for nearly 2 weeks after she was last seen near her hotel. Frontier Airlines is flying checked bags for free after Southwest announced the end of its more than 50-year-old policy for free bags. Black passengers and others will need to book a nonstop flight from now through August 18th. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Running out of hot water? Water Heaters Only makes replacing your water heater easy. With one call and great pricing, Water Heaters Only can have you back in hot water the same day, within hours of your call. Visit waterheatersonly.com. That's waterheatersonly.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers had a belief game last night. The kind of game where the players believe they can beat anybody when they play like they did against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Clippers beat the team with the NBA's best record, 132-119 at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Fourth straight win for the Clippers. A game-high 33 points from Kawhi Leonard. Ivica Zubac had 28 points and 20 rebounds. The stat of the night comes from Clippers guard Bogdan Bogdanović. He was 8 for 8 from the floor, including 4 for 4 on three-pointers. He finished with 20 points and 7 assists off the bench. The Alabama State men's basketball team won an NCAA tournament game for the first time in school history. A last-second layup by Amar Knox lifted the HBCU school to a 70-68 win over St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Alabama State advances to play Auburn, the number 1 seed in the South Regional, on Friday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but I saw a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Isaiah started vaping to try to deal with stress and quit because of his son. Learn how he and other Californians are rising above big tobacco at undo.org.
Stories are power. The Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project is an effort to collect, preserve, and amplify stories of Black land loss. It will form an invaluable resource for scholars, authors, historians, educators, storytellers, policymakers, and change agents who wrestle with issues of restitution, reparations, racial inequality in home ownership, and the racial wealth gap. Through documenting stories of Black land loss, the archive will help demonstrate the magnitude of what Black families have lost and will continue the national dialogue to encourage paths to restitution, rebuilding, and healing. Support the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project by visiting www.blacklandlost.org or by donating at www.blacklandlost.org/donate. Spread the word to inspire awareness, activism, leadership, and change. And join us in making a lasting impact. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
New York Times has a fascinating article today about how the current Republican administration is systematically going against the infrastructure of the left, of Democrats and progressives, targeting progressive law firms, Democratic fundraising organizations, targeting them with, some of it is just talking smack and innuendo. Some of it is launching investigations, and really trying to pass policies and laws that cripple their ability to work, so that it would, if successful, it could end up making it impossible for Dems or progressives to compete for decades to come. And how in the past, these Dems and Republicans, conservative and liberals would go at it, but it was never it was always considered off limits to use the actual power of the government to target these left-leaning or right-leaning organizations, and how Trump was actually impeached for trying to pressure Ukraine to go after Biden, right? That was one of his impeachments. So we've entered a new era. One of the things we're seeing is Musk, just like Trump, sort of orchestrating and barking out orders from their social media platforms. Musk wrote last week that something stinks about Act Blue, which is a big Democratic fundraising platform. Then he just accused them of being funded by Democratic mega donors. Of course, no evidence, just talking smack, including one who died in 2019, this guy Herb Sandler. And it is, I think it's going to be yet another thing to watch. Not to be participating in Flood the Zone, but just being aware that when you hear these things and when you encounter this stuff, we have to be mindful of the fact that this is a part of a strategy to dismantle the left. And it is not, it's probably not true. It's probably innuendo. It may very well just be propaganda and talking points, and to become more and more media literate so that we can understand this is what they are doing and be smarter than that. Being smarter than that will outwit a lot of this stuff. Let's go to Paul calling us from LA. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. Much better, thank you. How are you?
I'm blessed. I want to start it off with just giving another shout out to one of our black ancestors. Garrett Morgan today was an inventor, and he actually designed multiple things and had multiple inventions. But I'm gonna highlight two: the yellow stoplight that everybody stops at the stoplight, the traffic signals. In 1922, he actually patented that. And then in 1912, Morgan received a patent for his breathing device, which later led to basically gas masks. So I would just want to give a shout out to another one of our ancestors and inventors in Black history.
Yeah, it's amazing when you start unpacking all the things that black folks have invented. Life would be so much worse without us.
Yeah, come on, Queen, you know what it is. But earlier, in your first hour, you were discussing the situation. You meant Mitch McConnell. Remember McConnell?
Yeah, that's who we're talking about. Yeah, I forgot to say it. Somebody was calling us out in the chat. But yeah, it was Mitch McConnell. I wish I could forget him.
Yeah, trust me. Remember, Mitch McConnell said the infamous, their goal was to make Obama a one-term president.
Right.
You guys were referring to that. And you know that happens to me all the time. Like, you try to remember so much. But no, and just kind of towards the conversation that you were having just now, a lot of the Christian nationalist movement coming together, and I would argue Nazis too, coming together just for the preservation of wealth, control, and to be honest with you, whiteness. And when I refer to that is they stopped having babies, Dominique. They stopped having babies.
But that's not our fault.
Right. Exactly. Right. But think about it. We discuss on your show a lot, all these inventions, innovators, culture, music that we have, right? And instead of moving things forward, their biggest thing is they're afraid that they're going to grow, they're going to fall to the minority. And I would argue that's already transpired, right? But in their eyes, they're afraid we're going to do to them what they did to us. And we don't even think like that, but that's just how they view things. And I think Obama's presidency, followed by the George Floyd protests, was, oh no, we need to get in front of this. And I think a lot of this is the backlash from that.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the age of backlash, for real, on so many levels.
Right. And think about it. Could you ever imagine, we talked about the Republican Party and what they're doing? For those that don't know, those Doge people have already, it's happened, not happening. They have already gone in and taken people and deleted people and removed them from Social Security. And so there are people coming out now, what transpired, what's going on with Social Security. And remember, they've already let go of, 6,000 Social Security workers. So when you're trying to make a call to what's going on with your money because you didn't receive your check, you're on hold all day and you can't reach anybody. This is why they're shrinking the government. The goal is to create chaos. They want a constitutional crisis. So when a judge and when people say, well, the judges are just going to hold court, no, like you just heard yesterday, he's appointed people that literally are saying what he's going to do. Well, we don't care. We don't care what the courts are going to say. We're going to do it anyway. What are you going to do? Who's going to check me?
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that Chief Justice Roberts felt necessary to tell the president to stop threatening federal judges, normally that would give me hope, but it really doesn't, just because I see what they do. It's like on the one hand, and I can't remember, it was one attorney that was on the show recently that was saying, judges is like a society. They have their own rules and regulations. They have their own norms and mores, and that the judge aesthetic or whatever, the judge way of life was going to eventually kick in and make these folks real Trump in. And that's what I saw with Roberts making that statement. But again, I feel like they flip and flop. You know what I mean? The fact that they would grant him immunity and the things that they have been willing to co-sign. Unfortunately, although I was happy to see it, it doesn't give me a lot of hope.
Yeah, there's a couple of brothers. We had a call about this and what they're going to do is they already are re-implementing Jim Crow, right? They're defunding our schools, right? And we just had a decision basically yesterday where they're going to segregated facilities are no longer explicitly banned in federal contracts. So let's think about what they're essentially saying. Is it okay to say have the quote unquote no colors allowed in here? No colors this. So if they're going to do that on our end as people, can we come together and say and move on code? If you're going to do anything that's detrimental to our community and our children, we're not going to support you with our dollar. We can do that, y'all. Like seriously, we have a $2 trillion spending power. So if people are telling you they don't give a about you, your children, and your family, we don't support them. And that's why I support the Target boycotts. I support the boycotts of corporations that have basically removed DEI. And I get the whole DEI thing. But what is really basking is DEI is basically the new N-word. So it's all built on anti-black rhetoric. So if you're not riding with us, that means you're riding against us. And that can go for some of our own, too, that basically in a capitalistic system, Dominique, are okay with as long as I get extra coin, you can burn the rest of it down.
Exactly. I mean, the fact that Target is now suffering, that they are seeing measurable declines in their in-store and online sales means that it works. And we're not even... I mean, people are doing it, but we're not as united as we could be on that, right? And I think it's pretty widespread, but I saw a video of someone the other day on Instagram going inside Target and telling people not to shop, going up to the black people and saying, we're not shopping here. Clearly, that's having an impact. That means that we have the ability to do it even when we're not 100% united. And I think that is one way to go. That is one way to go.
Yeah, definitely. And in reality, everybody, schools, vouchers are going to happen. Things are going to happen in our community. If they take food away from our children and nourishment away from our children while they're trying to learn at school, that means the brothers and sisters in the community, we going to come together and make sure our kids eat. If they want to defund education from our schools, then we need to make sure that our kids are getting the proper education. It's going to be more on us. They're going to punch out and do what they do. And in reality, Dominique, to be honest with you, they're never going to enact martial law on a bunch of rural area white people. They're waiting for us to get out there. And in reality, a lot of this stuff they're doing right now and going to do is because they want a reaction out of us. Because the moment they get a reaction out of us, if we get in the streets like that, That's exactly what the Trump administration wants.
Yeah, well, it's a slippery slope because you don't want to not react. You don't want to just be like, oh, this is normal. We don't want to normalize authoritarianism, right? That's not what we want to do. But at the same time, the flooding the zone thing is real. And certainly having any excuse to crack down on folks is also real. And to your point about, if they're not going to educate our kids, we got to do it. I mean, that's where I was kind of going. I started with the FDA because I was hella sick yesterday. But I just started thinking, well, what do you do when you no longer have an agency that's really overseeing food safety? What do you do when you no longer have a Department of Labor to protect workers whose arms were ripped off by machinery? What do you do when you no longer have a Forest Service that's robustly funded and so the lawn is growing for 4 years and may or may not have been watered? Like, what do you do? Like, a lot of these things we can try to take into our own hands. We can supplement our children's education. You can grow your own food. I kill plants, sadly. Maybe I'll learn how to grow now. But I think the first thing we do is pay attention, but it is a bit daunting when you think about being a one-person Department of Education, Food and Drug Administration, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Labor, all rolled into one.
Right. And let's keep it real why they're doing what they're doing. Republican supermajority states have some of the worst education, no jobs, and some of the worst living conditions, and there's huge health disparities to people that look like me and you. So what they want to do is now they want to get their hands. This is why the whole Karen Bass thing, people need to pay attention to what they're doing. Don't go by what they say, go by what they're doing. They want to get their hands on the money in these blue states. The state of California alone has the 5th biggest economy in the world. So imagine if these rich oligarchs and billionaires were able to get their hands on that type of money.
Well, yeah, they have gotten their hands on a lot of it, and I understand exactly what you're saying. To me, the fact that Elon Musk and his Doge organization or department are targeting scientists tells you everything you need to know about his intentions when it came to those electric cars. Well, connect the dots. Part of the way that Elon Musk got his hands on California's money was with subsidies for his electric cars because he was supposedly here for the greening of America, here for, alternatives to these greenhouse gases. And now he's trying to defund the National Weather Service and all these other things. And it goes to show you, and laying off, they're saying over 1,000 scientists, it goes to show you that, no, he was just an opportunist trying to get that money. He doesn't care if there's emissions. He doesn't care if there's greenhouse gases. He doesn't care if his kids or his grandkids or yours can breathe the air or have a livable environment. He doesn't care. He is in total infatuation, bloodlust for money, greed. That's it. And that's all. And that's not just him. There are many others. But I think the firing of these scientists and the way that they're shutting down all of these aspects that protect California's wealth in terms of its natural beauty, it goes to show you that the only wealth he was trying to extract was dollars, and the only thing he was trying to protect was his own bottom line. Paul, I appreciate the call.
Oh, thank you. Have a great day, Dominique.
All right, Paul called me at 800-920-1580. I invite you to do the same. I am looking forward to this conversation, a bit of a deep dive on immigration with Dr. Ernesto Castañeda next hour. And I did want to say, before I forget, to Fred's point, Fred said that it's all these illegal, undocumented immigrants that are on Medicaid. In fact, the only state that offers undocumented adults Medicaid is California. The other 49 states do not, and California's only been doing it since 2023. So actually, that's not where the money from Medicaid was going. Just FYI. We will continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
A new day is on the horizon.
Behind every great moment in history, there's a woman whose story went untold. This March on KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing those hidden narratives to light. Hear extraordinary stories of women who transformed science, politics, arts, and community. Women you've never heard of, but should know. Celebrating Women's History Month on KBLA Talk 1580, where every story matters.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Yeah. The moment we're in is a moment where we do have to remember that we got this. We do got this. I know it sounds crazy in the middle of all of this flooding of the zone, but I do think that I still don't agree with what Achilles said, even though he had a good point, which is the good point he made is that if you're an authoritarian or if you're a fascist, you don't care about results. You just care about keeping power. And however, keeping power does require you to not spark a revolution in your country. And when people are protesting from coast to coast and you've only been president for 3 months, that's not a good sign. So I think the overreach, I do think Achilles is right that they don't really care about results. They just want the perception of results. And they're fine breaking stuff because they think they can just privatize it and profit off of it. So I break it and then I fix it, but I fix it so it's a private company run by me, i.e. education, et cetera, et cetera. I do think that. But no matter how many executive orders you pass, and no matter how many times you choose to ignore the courts, if the people are hitting the streets in mass and pushing back at the level that they are, and at the levels that I believe we will be as time moves on, we're only in month 3, I think that they're going to have to be responsive to that, even if it is only to hold on to power, even if it's not because they feel like it's the right thing to do, but because they seriously only because they want to hold on to power. I don't know how you hold on to power with the people in full revolt. And I think that's what we're going to see. It is chilling, again, to look at what this New York Times article says and how they're targeting these infrastructures of the left, law firms, fundraising agencies, various different support systems. But we're also seeing it with individuals, right? And I think that is scary, but it's meant to be scary. But, it reminds me of my godmother, the late and amazing Audre Lorde, when she said, "Your silence will not protect you." Do you think, does rolling over and playing along, does being quiet and pretending, does compromising keep you safe? I don't think so. I mean, I think about Mahmoud Khalil, right? The green card holder, married to a U.S. citizen, who is being held, detained somewhere in Louisiana without charges, and they're saying they're going to revoke his green card. That's what I mean, going after individuals as well as these sort of structures. But if all of us push back, they can't arrest all of us. And right now, people are hitting the streets and they are protesting on behalf of Mahmoud. And I think that the American people, even many of those who voted for this Republican administration and their extremist agenda, they're starting to see it. A lot of them decided, oh, he's not really going to do this. They decided he's selectively not really going to do the thing I don't like that he said he's going to do, but he is going to do the thing I like that he promised. And now they're finding out that what Maya Angelou said is true, and people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. It's happening in real time. And folks are having more than buyer's remorse. They're in full panic. Am I going to lose my job? Have I already lost my job? What does this mean, for our standing in the world? What does this mean for public safety, for food safety, for the planet? And so I believe that we will push back, and they are going to lose their fake mandate. And a lot of this stuff will not even come to fruition. 800-920-1580, that's the number. We're going to pivot to a conversation on immigration policies and concepts with Dr. Ernesto Castañeda when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Fredericksburg, Texas Fire and EMS is providing an update on the crabapple wildfire that's been affecting Black people in the community as well as other races. It's announced the fire is now about 90% contained. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, who is Black, says he's confident in Chuck Schumer despite the backlash over Schumer's support for a GOP spending bill. A Dominican Republic judge is ruling in favor of an American linked to the disappearance of a University of Pittsburgh student of color. Sudiska Kanaki has been missing for nearly 2 weeks after she was last seen near her hotel. Frontier Airlines is flying checked bags for free bags. Black passengers and others will need to book a nonstop flight from now through